Tisdale? Is Thomas Tisdale here? The next person is Stephen Tropasso.
Yes.
Thank you. Please come forward.
Sure, Gonzalez is gone when she was offering free lunches when I get up here. Sorry. Thank you very much, Chairman and all the members of the committee. I appreciate this opportunity. I'm a communicant of Our Lady of Lourdes Church in Waterbury, and you know, Immaculate Basilica is beautiful, but Our Lady of Lourdes is the acoustics are better and it's a lot prettier. You know, the marble's nice, but it's a little cold. But you know, I really want to say some things. My father fought in World War II for some values that I believe make families strong and our country strong. And I think that this is just the tip of the iceberg, because there is definitely a climate in the country right now and some movements and some agendas going on. I won't get specific, I'll keep it to this bill. But certain people, because the values that made this country strong and families strong, because it's contrary to their interests, they're attacking our values. It doesn't have to be Catholic, Christian, whatever. They're attacking values that are contrary to their interests. You could say whatever you want. It's freedom of speech. You could say something that's totally ridiculous and wrong, and you have the right to say that. But you don't have the right to pass it into law where it's going to affect my rights. And I ask you all to please just don't downplay the importance of this. This is just the tip of the iceberg for a trend sweeping our whole country. And I'm going to read one thing that I wrote when I was making an email to these guys. Some government people push hard for separation of church and state and won't allow God or even his mention in our godless schools and government buildings. Now, if we're not allowed into those schools and government buildings, read me loud and clear. You will not be allowed to come into our churches in such a way as to take over their running and exclude bishops and pastors from managing their affairs. What arrogance do people think that they're going to do a better job than these people with preventing misdirection that give their lives to their parishes and to their community? Oh yeah, you know, they're worried about misdirection, misappropriation of funds. What? Government is going to do a better job? And please, don't think this is a personal insult, because I'm very encouraged by the opposition to this bill that I saw in this room from Democrats and Republicans. But what I have to really emphasize is, who has the audacity to think that they're going to do a better job at preventing misdirection of funds? This government, the same government that appoints at the federal level appointees that are tax evaders, that, you know, I could go on and on, but I won't get personal. All I'm going to try to say is, be careful, because once they get in at this level, it's going to give them a foothold, and you have to ask yourself why this even came up. And that's all I have to say. But just please think and pray about this, because this is the beginning of what I think is going to be a lot of things you guys are going to have to deal with. And I really hope, and I trust in you, because I have a lot more trust than when I came in here this morning. I can tell you that. Thank you.
Much, Senator Boucher.
Thank you very much for your testimony and for waiting out the day with us here. I think there are a couple of points that you brought up that I just wanted to comment on, and I think one of the more valid points you have brought out is that that there's no aspect to society that is better than another to really assess what's good for the public, because we all are human beings. We all have failings. Government can't do a better job of oversight and eking out waste or corruption any better than sometimes the private sector and businesses that we see and individuals in each household. You're right about that. So one really isn't better than another. Our laws are there as guidance and oversight. And one of the comments that I made earlier was that we do have a body of laws. And in fact, if we're concerned about fraud and criminal activity, then maybe we should be directing those changes at the laws that govern everyone, exactly. Not individually to a particular group, to a particular organization, even to a particular company, but across the board. And I think where those have worked well, and if they aren't working well, then that's the direction we should be going with this, rather than, as you said, some of the other things. And I think it's also a good opportunity for people to acknowledge that since they've made this about the Catholic Church, that our parochial schools account for the bulk of the attendance at private schools in the United States of America, and create such a benefit for us and relieve towns and cities of a great financial burden without taxpayer dollars. And Additional Catholic Charities happens to be the largest private network of social services organizations in the United States, again, relieving the cost and burden on the part of governmental agencies. And our Catholic hospitals, for example, and in the past those have been under attack in different sessions as well, they actually take care of a sizable portion of the indigent population in our state that relieve other area hospitals.
Very important, and we need the government, but the government is here to serve the people, not to master them, as Ronald Reagan said. I know everybody doesn't agree with everything he said, but that I definitely agree with. Thank you. Any other questions?
Representative Morris.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We're living in the hardest times that we have ever in this country. Facing an economic crisis worldwide proportions that, if ever, I think there's a time for the faith community, Catholic Church, Protestant Church, all faiths, to be present, provide comfort, provide assistance. It is now. And certainly it is our president that we have right now who has said that we need to be bound by those things we hold in common, and not those things which tear us apart. As I listened to a lot of the testimony in the last hour and things I've heard throughout the day, there was a scripture that came to my mind, and I guess it was prompted by Representative Gonzalez and what she was talking about earlier. Because certainly the Catholic Church shouldn't be targeted, no church should be, but at the end of the day, and I want to get this in before I leave because I've got to leave shortly. At the end of the day, is this forum going to only be about what did we do to protect the Catholic Church from being attacked here today? And certainly there are others that said there are other concerns. We talked in terms of religious liberties. Representative Gonzalez talked about in terms of what we need to do to feed the poor and everything else. And certainly the Catholic Church does a wonderful job at doing those things. It's after-tax dollars that are contributed to these faith organizations that allow all these fantastic things to go on. So if I can, Mr. Chairman, I would just like to at least be able to read into the record, and I'm going to give a comment, and then you may want to comment on what I'm going to say afterwards. From the Gospel of St. Matthew, if I can, it's the 25th chapter and the 31st through 40th verses. It says, and this is the King James Version, when the Son of Man shall come in glory and all the holy angels with him, then shall he sit upon the throne of his glory. And before him shall be gathered all nations, and he shall separate them one from another, as a shepherd divideth his sheep from the goats. And he shall set the sheep on his right hand, but the goats on the left. Then shall the king say unto them on his right hand, Come, ye blessed of my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world. For I was hungry, and ye gave me meat. I was thirsty, and ye gave me drink. I was a stranger, and ye took me in. Naked, and ye clothed me. I was sick, and ye visited me. I was in prison, and ye came unto me. Then shall the righteous answer him, saying, Lord, when saw we thee an hungered, and fed thee, or thirsty, and gave thee drink? When saw we thee a stranger, and took thee in, or naked, and clothed thee? Or when saw we thee sick, or in prison, and came unto thee? And the king shall answer and say unto them, Verily I say unto you, inasmuch as ye have done it unto one of the least of these my brethren, ye have done it unto me. I remember hearing that scripture all the time when I was a young Catholic as an altar boy.
Yep.
And I think it is appropriate today, as we're probably getting down to the end of this, and because there's one other scripture that came to mind, and it's one of the Epistle of James in the 2nd chapter, in the 26th verse, which says, For as the body is without the spirit, so faith without works is dead also. I say all that because at the end of the day, we've had a discussion. The Catholic Church has rallied, the faith community has rallied to come to say, this is important.
I really am encouraged to see the way all of you work together to help support us and represent us. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else from anyone else? Thank you very much. The next person on the list is Patricia Galloway. Patricia Galloway.